Hello Disney fans, welcome back to my second ever review. Today we're going to be talking about the live action version of Aladdin. Now, the main point that I want to hit on with this, because most of us know the story, is I'm going to be talking about the performances. Nobody seemed to be happy when they heard that Will Smith was going to be cast as the genie. And I think that has a lot more to do with the memory of Robin Williams than with Will Smith. Nobody could ever replace Robin Williams. He was as fine an actor as they come. He was a great human being. And his performance as the genie is a major part of a lot of our childhoods. So when people thought of somebody else stepping into that role, they just couldn't imagine that. And as it turns out, neither could Will Smith at first. He did not want to touch this role. But he was convinced to do it, and when he did, he made it his own, which is why he shines as the genie. He does a spectacular job playing it. Is he Robin Williams? No, because he can't be. But that's what the main lesson of the movie is anyway, and I find it interesting to tie in the two together is Aladdin has to learn he can't be Prince Ali. He has to go back to being Aladdin. He has to be who he really is. And Will Smith knew better than to try to be someone he wasn't when he played this role. And there's a lot of humor in it that ties back into The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which was his first major starring role that everybody remembers him from, that made him a household name. And it actually works with the way he portrays the genie's personality. He does the songs very well. He has a history as a rapper. There's mixed reviews on his performance of Prince Ali. A lot of people say it should be sped up, which I can understand. I think it's good on its own. It could be faster. But he totally blew it out of the park with Arabian Nights, which is, of course, the opening number of the movie. Now, I like that brings up another good point that I like about this movie is they fix a lot of cultural mistakes when dealing with Muslims. The first version of the Arabian Nights song has a line that they cut off your ear if they don't like your face. Not exactly a positive portrayal of Muslim culture. And in this version, they show all the wonders of Arabia, what it's like to walk in the bazaars, and they sing about the different aromas of the spices and haggling for prices of goods in the bazaar, and what it's like to mix with all the cultures that come together in that area. And it's really a positive take on it for once. And this is added to during the Prince Ali song. One of the lines in it is "Dress up your Sunday salam." The Muslim holy day is on Friday, which they changed for this song. They kept it culturally sensitive. At least a lot more culturally sensitive than the original version. I heard a lot of positive reviews from Muslims about it, and I don't think I've heard any that say this isn't how our culture is. They were fascinated by how it shows a magical place and a people who are a good people. And it was interesting to see too how they showed Agrabah as a kind of mix of cultures. Jasmine in this version is herself, her father is the Sultan of Agrabah, of course, but her mother came from another country. And so it ties into history because the Arabian area was the hub of major trade routes. A lot of spices came from there, silks. It was a major place that all your traders and all your cultures wanted to come together. And it was interesting to see that portrayed historically in the movie. Now, getting back to the characters, as I said, Will Smith did a great job playing the genie, and I thought all the actors did a good job playing their roles. But the role of Aladdin was changed a fair bit. He's not quite the character you remember. He's a bit harsher. He falls a bit more into the trap of believing he is the prince and wanting to live that role. In the original movie, he didn't want to lie to Jasmine, but he felt he had no choice because he's like, I can't go back to being the street rat. People will see who I really am, and that's not a person that people could like. And so in this version, they changed that a bit to where he kind of falls for loving being a prince almost as much as he loves to Jasmine. And the genie tells him in there, when Aladdin tells him he can't use his final wish to set him free, the genie tells him it isn't about the wish. He wants Aladdin to not lie to the woman that he loves anymore. He wants him to come clean. And that's an interesting change on the genie's character. It shows how he really has come to care for Aladdin. You see their friendship in the original, and he does try to tell Aladdin to be who he really is. But in this version, you see it's more than about the wish. It's more than about the genie wanting to be free. There's also a lot of parallels drawn between Aladdin and Jafar. It goes more into Jafar's backstory. We see he was a thief living on the streets when he was Aladdin's age. He had to climb his way up the hard way to reach the station of Grand Vizier. And he's not happy with that because he doesn't like to be second, which of course is how Aladdin finally defeats him because Jafar can't stand to be second best to the genie. And of course, we all know how he makes his final wish to be a genie and ends up trapped as a result. Aladdin doesn't want to be the first, he doesn't want to be the best in the country, but he does want to climb the social ladder. It's the same way Jafar did. And Genie warns him several times throughout, don't drink from that cup. You don't want to do that. There will never be enough power and wealth, ever, no matter what you wish for. At first, in fact, Genie's actually shocked to meet Aladdin because he isn't who Genie refers to as that guy, the guy who's power hungry, wealthy. And we see Aladdin fall into that trap bit by bit. But in the end, though, of course, who he is the heroic person shines through, and he comes to the conclusion on his own that he can't keep up the charade. And it's only after that that he realizes the lamp has been stolen and the final conflict has to be resolved. And in the first one, we see too, after he tells Genie he can't be, he says, Genie's right, I can't lie about this, but he continues with it a little bit. He doesn't quite know how to come clean when the announcement is made that he's going to be marrying Jasmine. In this version, we see he's on his way to come clean when he finds out that Jafar has the lamp. Jafar himself is an interesting character in this one. It's interesting. I don't want to say you feel sympathy for him, and there are versions of his story where you do feel a little sympathy for him. If you look at TV versions that have been made, I'm thinking specifically of Once Upon a Time in Wonderland, where you get a different version of his character. In this version, you can see how he came from a poor background, but he didn't make the moral choices in that background the way Aladdin did. You still see Aladdin giving part of what he gained to feed the kids, and he still cares about other people. Jafar only ever wanted to be first. So that is the primary character difference between them. But it's still where you can see how Aladdin, had he continued the route he was going with the genie, could have very easily become exactly who Jafar was. I think in the scene where Jafar tries to denounce Aladdin as a fraud, and the table is turned on Jafar at that point, where people find out he's been trying to trick the Sultan, and you can't help thinking at that moment, the way the scene is set up, Aladdin's been tricking the Sultan too. The difference being, of course, again, Aladdin does decide to come clean on it. I also want to talk about the music in this version. There's a new song called Speechless that Jasmine gets to sing, and that was a number that was missing from the original. Now, the actress who plays Jasmine, Naomi Scott, she does a phenomenal job singing. She's an excellent singer, and she puts a lot of feeling into the song. Oh, Marty? No? Thought I might have my fellow reviewer here for a moment. I'm going to introduce him since he came this close. To Marty. Want to say hi, Marty? Say hi? No? Not going to help me review this one? No. Next week we're doing Lady in the Trap, and he will be joining us for that. So, back to the music. There's a number that's missing from the original one that Jafar sings, his Prince Ali reprise. I thought that kind of hurt the movie a little bit because that was the first time that I've ever heard a Disney hero song turned against them, and it shows it adds a level to how Jafar is exposing who Aladdin really is, and I thought that was an interesting twist. But by far, the biggest change in the music is the new song that Jasmine gets to sing, and it's been used as a women's empowerment number. It's really, for any group that has felt like they've had their rights taken away and they've been made to feel speechless. And Jasmine talks about how she won't be silent, how she's going to speak up for herself and for her people. That's another great change with Jasmine is she doesn't just want out of the palace to have a sense of freedom. She wants to get to know her people. And she doesn't just want to be the wife of the next Sultan. She wants to be the Sultan because she reasons that she cares more about her people than any foreign prince she could ever marry ever will. she's deeply invested in her people's culture. And at the end of Whole New World, when Aladdin takes her on the magic carpet ride, they stop and they're looking at the people, and she comments how that's the most beautiful sight she's seen the whole ride, because she realizes it's the people of Agrabah that make it special, and this sets her up to be the great leader that we all know she will be at the end, that she can look forward to being. Um, and I'm thinking that's about all there is to say about this movie. I hope you all give it a fair chance and see it. There's been a lot of debate over how good the live action remakes are. Don't let the fact that it isn't the original hold you back. This movie has its own charms to offer, and I really think you'll enjoy it. So, I hope you'll get to see it, and until next time, remember the magic.